It's well known that leakages from government revenue collection processes is the one that accounts for a situation in which Nigeria has Africa's biggest economy, but not Africa's biggest government revenue. There is no way you will have an economy of the size that Nigeria now has, over half $500 billion US, and you will not have more revenue than a country like South Africa, that is only about 70% of your economy. So the fact that South Africa has more revenue than the Nigerian government suggests that if leakages could be blocked, Nigerian government should have more revenue than the South African government. And the evidence of the leakage, you have so many. You are talking about the autonomy of revenue collecting agencies. I do not know anywhere else in the world where an agency will collect revenue on behalf of the government and has the liberty to first spend it as it wishes, and only then declare a surplus and remit a fraction of the surplus into government coffers. So it will be better a situation in which all government revenue goes directly into government coffers, and all government agencies are brought under a single appropriation process, including the Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigerian Ports Authority, NNPC, that all revenue collecting agencies should lose the autonomy to spend the revenue they collect and go through the same budgetary process as the army, as the police, as any other agency, so that Nigeria will have adequate revenue with which to govern, because a lot leaks out of the frivolous projects that such agencies embark upon, building conference centers, donating to institutions that are not under their watch and the rest of it. But that's not the only type of revenue. As a matter of fact, that's the type that requires it requires some changes into existing legislation, because some laws created the situation that we are in, and those laws need to be amended. There are other leakages like crude oil theft. What's crude oil theft? In a country, government that runs the security tells you that crude oil has been stolen. You are expecting government to protect you from your private property being stolen. Government is telling you that government output, 100,000 barrels of oil a day gets stolen. I think that should have gone with the previous administration. Then the abuses to the subsidy, where a minister could go and withdraw from excess crude accounts without appropriation, and then pay people who never imported anything, billions of Nigeria's money. I believe that should also have stopped with the last administration. And then the abuses to the duty and tax waivers. People getting duty waiver, import duty waiver for importing BMW cars. I think that should also have stopped with the last administration. So the first three types, oil theft, subsidy abuses, and duty and tax abuses, I believe should have stopped in the month of June 2015. And the fourth type of leakage, this revenue autonomy, as soon as the government could amend existing laws, I think that should stop as well.
Still on this revenue collection system, and under the past administration, there was an FGN e-collection system that was put in place by that administration for MDAs to be able to remit their revenues directly with the CBN. What do you make of this program?
I'm not aware that this was implemented, but that's the direction that you should go. You should maintain a single treasury account, and no government agency should be excluded from it. All government agencies should remit the revenues mobilized by them into that single, into a single account. And nobody should be allowed to spend out of the money without appropriation.
Recently, the Buhari administration announced the bailout fund for the states that were unable to pay workers' salaries. What do you make of this bailout fund, as analyst views differ?
Well, my view is that it was better late than never. But I thought we should have been more decisive. We should have done that like a month before we did it. Because letting the situation linger was capable of undermining the confidence of the financial markets. And I suspect it did. If you let, states go on month after month not paying, particularly the announcement that the treasury was almost empty might be behind the pressure you see on the naira. I mean, what would you do if you have financial wealth in any country, any other country in the world, and the government tells you their treasury is empty? Your first instinct will be to get your money out. So we need to be careful in solving problems. There are a lot of problems to be solved. We need to be careful to say more about what we are doing to solve the problem than just dwelling on the problem. If we had said that, well, we are trying to block leakages, we are doing this to deal with the situation that we find the treasury, is more positive communication than saying the treasury was empty. And half of the states we knew couldn't, pay salaries. To add the two information together, if investors start heading for the exit, you can't blame them. Now we've bailed the states out, which means that the situation was not as bad as we portrayed it. So we should try to be more conscious of the sensitivity of investors to government utterances. The government should dwell more on what they are doing to solve problems